Hey guys, I'm Gracie from gracietytravels, and we're talking all things Hollywood Studios and Epcot, so stay tuned, we're getting right into it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming back. I'm so excited to be doing today's episode. It's going to be all about Hollywood Studios and Epcot. This was my very first park day at Disney. I did a whole Run Disney race in the morning and then decided to go to the parks after. So if you have any questions about my race day, there's a full video that I'll link down below. So the night before my race, I actually went in and purchased Genie Plus at midnight. So everything was kind of set up and ready to go for the next morning. At 7 a.m., my boyfriend was actually the one that went in and booked our two rides for the day. So he went in and booked Rise of the Resistance, which is an individual lightning lane, and then he booked Slinky Dog Dash, and we got pretty good return times for both. For the individual lightning lane, it is an extra cost. So Disney Genie Plus is basically like Disney's new version of Fast Pass. It used to be free and in the parks, and it would be like a physical counter. You go in, you'd get like a little ticket that told you your return time. This is very similar, except it's a digital form and it's now a pay system. So regular Disney Genie just comes on your My Disney Experience app. There's tools and tips, there's helpful, like Genie will say like, oh yeah, you should go to this ride at this time, or if you have young kids, maybe you'll go to Disney Junior for an hour. It's just kind of like a plan your day kind of service. Now Disney Genie Plus is a pay per day per person fast pass system. So essentially what happens is the night before at midnight, you go in and you purchase Disney Genie Plus. The reason why I say at midnight is because Disney Genie Plus has sold out, and it is selling out more recently, especially with the return of Tron, or the start of Tron. Since there's a new ride open, it definitely sells out much quicker. So if you are looking to purchase Genie Plus, I highly recommend going in at midnight and purchasing it for yourself. That being said, Disney doesn't want us to sleep, because at 7 a.m. is when the window opens to make your first selection. So for Slinky Dog Dash, we got a return time of around 11 to 12. And then for Rise of the Resistance, we had a reservation at I think like 1:30, because we did have a reservation at Oga's Cantina for 2:30, so that just kind of worked out. You do have an hour window for both Disney Genie Plus lightning lanes and individual lightning lanes themselves. So we were running a little behind schedule. I took much longer to get ready than I had anticipated, but as soon as I was ready, we were able to go to Hollywood Studios. We ended up taking the bus from Coronado Springs, and when we got there, we really had to kind of walk pretty fast to make our 11 to 12 lightning lane for Slinky Dog Dash. Now, Slinky Dog Dash is a great attraction. I'm not saying it's not, but do I think it's worth a 95-minute line? I really don't. It's super cute. It's a great first coaster, especially if your little ones are a little scared. But in my personal opinion, I really wouldn't want to wait 95 minutes for it. So after we rode Slinky Dog Dash, it was time for some coffee. I needed it desperately. I was so tired. So we ended up going to the Joffrey's Kiosk, and I got the Shakin Jamaican. I like to call it the Shaky Jamaican, but it's the Joffrey's cold brew, and it is amazing. I love it so much. It is one of my favorite drinks. I get it almost every time I'm in Disney, and I could not recommend it enough. After grabbing coffee, we ended up walking around a bit, and we saw a bunch of characters was out. Frozone, Edna, The Incredibles were out. Basically all of the Incredibles franchise was out, which is really cool. We saw the Green Army Men. That was a ton of fun. And at this point in time, I was hungry. Like, I was really hungry. We were messing around with Genie Plus, trying to get like our next lightning lane, or deciding which one we wanted to do. The next one I ended up booking was Tower of Terror, which was super fun, but we had a little bit of time to kill right before that. So I ended up mobile ordering one of my favorite snacks, Totchos. So Totchos are so good, but my favorite way to eat them is with hot sauce drizzled over them. Oh my goodness. My favorite snack by far. I've yet to eat the breakfast ones, but I can confirm that the regular Totchos at Woody's Lunchbox are, in fact, my absolute favorite. I'm going to link all the prices, or maybe pop them up on the screen just so you can see them, and they will be the date of this video going out. Because we had Disney Genie Plus, we were able to ride every single ride in Hollywood Studios. Now, we didn't do a few things. We didn't do the Disney Junior Dance Party, and we didn't do the Frozen Sing-Along or the Beauty and the Beast show. We also opted out of Fantasmic, but we did see the Indiana Jones Stomp Spectacular. We were really there for the rides and the snacks, so that was like our main focus there. My favorite ride in all of Hollywood Studios is absolutely Rise of the Resistance. I'm so happy we bought the individual lightning lane for that. That ride is incredible. It is a longer ride, so if you think you're going to get on and off in 30 seconds, like, you will not. That is a longer ride, but it is one of my absolute favorites. I would say right now it's my third favorite in Disney World, and I don't know, I just had a blast. So we ended up going to my personal favorite bar in all of Disney World, and that is Oga's Cantina. I absolutely love it. I think the atmosphere is awesome. I love the drinks. The fuzzy tauntaun gets me every time. I absolutely love it. I was actually my first time trying the fuzzy tauntaun, and oh my gosh, what an experience. Now, quick pro tip, you can actually book a reservation for later at night, and when you get out of Oga's Cantina, there's nobody in the park. So it's a great time to get photos and stuff like that if you want like more of an empty park vibe. Definitely try to book it later at night. One thing to note about Oga's Cantina is that it is timed. You only get around 45 minutes, and they do stick to that schedule. It is highly, highly popular, and it is a very, very small, limited space. You will be getting comfy cozy with the people around you or next to you. You might be standing the whole time, so just kind of be prepared for all of that. Also, kids actually are allowed in Oga's Cantina. They have alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, so it can be fun for the whole family. The Oga's drinks, though, are pre-made, so the bartenders aren't really making the drinks per se. They're just kind of pouring it and putting all the extras on top and serving it to you. So if there's something you don't like in a drink, they don't really have the ability to take it out. So that's just something to note. Overall, for me, Oga's Cantina is an absolute must-do. I personally loved it. I had a great time and think that is my #1 must-do in Hollywood Studios. My personal second must-do in Hollywood Studios is actually something I could not do while I was there. Rock and Roller Coaster was actually down when I went, so I wasn't able to ride it, but for me personally, that has such a nostalgia. It was my very first roller coaster, so I try to go on it every single time I'm there. That launch gives me a thrill every single time. But yeah, that is my second must-do of Hollywood Studios. I absolutely love it, but it was unfortunately down for some maintenance. My third must-do of Hollywood Studios is definitely Rise of the Resistance. I think that was a phenomenal ride. I absolutely loved it. I couldn't say more better things about it. That was my first time riding it, and it was out of this world crazy. All right, chugging right along to my fourth must-do is definitely the Ronto wrap. I absolutely love it. There's two versions. There's basically like a meat version and a plant-based version. I only ate the meat-based version, so I can only speak to that, but I've heard that the plant-based is actually pretty good. But yeah, I would definitely highly recommend grabbing a Ronto roaster wrap. And my fifth must-do thing at Hollywood Studios, I feel like this is going to be super controversial, but it's Toy Story Mania. I think it's just such a fun ride. I love that it's a game. I come out every time having so much fun. I do feel like every time is different, even though it's completely the same ride, but I just think it's fun, especially for like an adult. You just get to like kind of let loose. My honorable mention to Hollywood Studios would be the Totchos. The Totchos are fantastic. Love them so much. I wouldn't say they're a must-do because I feel like you might be able to make something a little similar at home with just like some tater tots and a bunch of toppings that you love, but honorable mention to that. If you're looking to just get out of the sun and have like a good meal, just sit down with your friends or family, I highly recommend ABC Commissary. I went there to get a buffalo chicken sandwich towards the end of the night, and it was fantastic. It is nice and air conditioned. There's plenty of seating. You can mobile order. There's almost always times available, and yeah, for me it worked out really well. We opted not to go to Fantasmic, which I know I personally have seen it and I love Fantasmic, but I hadn't seen Harmonious, and I knew that it was getting taken off. So after we rode every single ride, we saw everything in the park, we ended up taking the Skyliner and hopping over to Epcot, which was super easy, so much fun. I'll be totally honest, the Skyliner kind of freaks me out because it is not that high up. It just like kind of sways just a teeny bit, just enough to make me like a bit nervous, especially when it goes over like those little track thingies. Definitely gets to me a little bit, so if you have somebody who's like very scared of heights or anything like that, just something to know, especially when hopping to and from resorts or to and from parks. But yeah, I ended up hopping over and we ended up going to see Harmonious. So we went to Epcot basically just to grab a drink and to watch Harmonious. So we ended up going to the Japan Pavilion and picking up a beverage and then watching Harmonious from there. And it was such a nice night that I was so excited just to like relax and watch Harmonious. I personally had never seen it before, and this was going to be like my first time seeing it all the way through. Now, in my personal opinion, I do think that Epcot is a 2-day park. At least 2 half days, maybe just 1 giant full day, but it takes up a lot of time because it is just such a massive park. For me personally, if I were to do it again, I would dedicate at least a half day or just like 1 day to just the countries, go back to the resort and relax, and then do the other sides of the park after. I personally love the countries. It is my favorite. Spoiler alert, Epcot is my favorite park. I love going there. So just a little helpful hint is if you're going, you might want to budget either a half day and then some relaxing time, or just like 1 full day dedicated to Epcot. Now, when I was there, the topiaries for Flower and Garden were starting to go up, so we got to see a little bit of them, but Flower and Garden hadn't actually started yet, so there was no food booths out or anything like that. It was just kind of standard Epcot food. Now, don't get me wrong, Epcot food is actually amazing. Like, it is my favorite park to eat in for that reason, but like I said, we were just going for a quick drink. We had eaten so much at Hollywood Studios. Honestly, it was amazing. I loved it. But other than that, I would just say if there is a food festival there, I would definitely recommend checking out some of those booths because they have some amazing food options there. And yeah, after Harmonious was over, the park stayed open for about an hour, which gave me enough time to kind of hobble back over to the bus lines. Just as an FYI, not including my race, we walked 16 miles throughout both Hollywood Studios and Epcot. So please, like, keep that in mind. Bring good walking shoes because you will be walking a ton during your trip. Yep, so right after Harmonious was over, we just ended up walking back to the buses, hopped on a bus, and went back to our resort. Overall, I think Disney Genie Plus was a really good purchase for Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios doesn't have a ton of rides, but the rides they do have are heavy hitters and are some fan favorites. So they had 90, 95, I even saw like 120 minutes. I think it was for Slinky Dog Dash. So if you're looking to just kind of make the most of your time there, I do think that Disney Genie Plus is worth it for Hollywood Studios. Personally, I use Disney Genie Plus for every single ride in Studios, apart from Star Tours and the Indiana Jones stunt show. So other than that, I only used Disney Genie Plus. So we got back to the resort. We ended up just going to sleep and setting an alarm for midnight. Woke up at midnight to buy Disney Genie Plus for the next day, which was Epcot and Magic Kingdom. I loved this day. I'm so excited to talk about it in a future video, so stay tuned. And yeah, that basically wraps up everything for Hollywood Studios and Epcot. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to continue this series. I think the next video is going to be more New York based, and then we're going to jump back into the Disney World trip, but I'm so excited. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.